Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
So we got a guest on right here. Now, for some of you, this is going to be a lot of fun because this is going to be somebody that's unfamiliar. And for some of you, you're going to be like, I know exactly who that is. This is a good friend of ours that we've had on, and I'm going to tell you why we're having him on. But first things first, we got to get this covered. What do you want to go by, buddy?
What's your name?
What is your name?
That's messed up.
What's your name, man?
That's something we need to talk about for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously my name is Brian, but I go by multiple names, and it's tough because kind of rebranding, if you will, that we'll get into, I'm sure. But going as Rusty Old Man.
Right now you're Rusty. So you've been known as Mkbean for a while
forever.
Now.
And
Mkbean the Builder. Remember when we first started?
Mkbean the Builder, yeah.
SMB server
Yeah.
was a Minecraft server that we all played on.
Like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Forever ago.
I mean, yeah, that's correct.
The SMB server.
SMB server.
We don't need to talk about
No, we're not going
that
to.
anymore. But but yeah, we used to do a lot together. We would do streams on Twitch, and we were pioneers.
We were, absolutely.
We had us all split windowed streams. I remember like we all would stream into a computer that I had at my house, and then I would take it all and combine everybody together and then rebroadcast it out as one to Twitch. And we did our SMB streams, and Skizz would do crazy stuff like the deep end talks at the end.
We were organized.
We were.
We were ahead of our time.
We were at work having meetings about what we were going to do that night.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, it was. We were using work time for that. Which is
we
great.
would book conference rooms, use the whiteboards, and sketch out the stream and how it was going to flow.
What is better than that? We would also write on the board a bunch of business jargon, so that if somebody walked in, it would look like we were having a legit meeting.
That's right.
We wasted a lot of work time back.
Yeah, but
so
it was great.
regardless, I mean, needless to say, you've been in the content creation space from the beginning, like with us and streaming and being on a Minecraft server and videos and stuff like that. So you've been doing it for a long time.
Yep.
As Mkbean, and then now you've recently rebranded to Rusty Old Man.
Yes.
And that's because your main thing now is involving a game called Rust?
Yep, exactly. And funny thing is, I've been playing Rust. I looked at it the other day, probably 10, 11 years, right? It's probably the game I've played the most of, but I never really created content on it. I would actually record things just to have and so forth, but I just love the game. And I'm like, you know what? I did Minecraft for a while and I stopped, and then I picked it back up a couple of years ago, and it wasn't, the traction wasn't there that I wanted to get. The growth wasn't there. And so, I'm going to do a Rusty Old Man video.
So this is good. The Rust conversation is going to be a fascinating one, and I want to dive into it, but let's let it simmer for just a second, because I want to kind of go over why it's such an interesting dynamic to have you here on the show. So it wasn't too long ago, we brought Tango in because I had just gone full time, and we realized we had some gold here. We had sort of 3 levels, 3 tiers of what content creation was or going full time was. Tango had been full time so long that the idea of the corporate world was a distant memory. You had gone full time and you were doing
fairly
great
recently
things.
at the time when we had Tango on.
Yeah, it was relatively recent. So you were still kind of had a foot in both camps in this content world. I was so brand new at it that I was only corporate minded, and I was so wet behind the ears that we realized we can talk about this because I'm the freshest perspective of it, and you guys have all been through it. We have something similar here where Impulse, you're seeing a great amount of success in the content creation world. I'm starting to see real success, and I'm very happy about that. And you're an up and comer, and you're going for it, and you're very familiar, very intimate, if you will, with the struggles of being a smaller creator, of trying to break out, get on the radar, something that we're both painfully aware of. We understand what this journey is. And so that's why it's interesting to have you here, because I have to entertain that I myself, it's only been a year, but I'm probably losing some perspective, and I'd be curious to hear what you have to say, and it's gonna be familiar to you as well. So let's journey all the way back.
Ooh.
And I want to go further back, if you can believe this, before we met, when you were just a kid, because when you and I, all 3 of us were friends at our last place of work, and I remember watching videos of you as a kid, and you were a performer VHS days.
Yeah.
I remember this. And I don't, I
Wait, where did you see these
Oh,
videos?
bro.
I don't remember
It's
seeing any of these
amazing.
videos.
They're
Michael
unlisted
Jackson.
private videos now.
remember Michael
How come you
Jackson
got-
did?
what?
Michael
How did he get to
Jackson.
see these videos.
This guy was grabbing
don't wanna
his
see
crotch
them.
and pulling and doing like doing the whole thing. He was
So
just a young
uncoordinated,
kid.
too.
Yeah, it was
It's
so
so
funny.
bad.
Did you flip the hat like onto
I
your
didn't have a
head?
hat, but I was wearing this buttoned-up shirt that was like just like half buttoned here and not here.
Yeah, okay.
I think I was like 12 years old, if that.
Yeah.
Oh, my
How
dad.
do you know about this?
You know what's funny is I honestly don't remember what the context is, why you even showed me this stuff, but it was years ago. Over
Well, I
10
can't believe
years
you
ago.
remembered.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
He's been waiting for this day.
No.
Apparently.
Now I'm gonna have to republish this video.
I remembered because in that moment, I was like, this guy's supposed to be an entertainer. Because for two reasons. Not because of what I'm seeing with him as a kid, but because even he's enjoying looking back on these. And we had all started dabbling in the world of entertainment with what we just talked about. And I was like, yeah, this has been part of who he is since the beginning. And it went all the way to you were doing the Dad That Cooks or whatever on TikTok. And
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of got big on TikTok there
I
for a while.
did. That just blew up, which was crazy. Yeah, TikTok did. I mean, I did Dad Who Cooks, still on there. Don't make videos anymore, but I mean, after a couple videos, I mean, it went up, tens of thousands of subscribers, if you will, right? And it just blew my mind that happened. But
Those are good times because like you would have us come over and feed us. He would,
absolutely.
He would make food and then Skizz and I would come over and
it was
taste
delicious.
test
That's
it.
the problem when you do a cooking video. It's like you're always making too much for just yourself. And my family, they're not going to like what I'm cooking or something like that. So yeah.
So
I want to go back to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
there.
I want to know this. Why? Because that's the other thing is because we're going to talk about the three of us used to do a lot of Battlefield.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And were we? We weren't even streaming it. We were just
No,
playing.
I wish
we
we
were just
did. It wasn't
playing.
even a thing when we did.
Yeah.
I wish we would have recorded some of that though. It was just
Yes.
gold.
But
Well,
here's the deal.
let's go
though.
back to how the Battlefield started, if we
Oh,
could,
so
because
we'll get to
I think that was your idea.
It was.
right, and at the time, like I
Was it?
wasn't, I
Yes.
wasn't a gamer. Like I wasn't really gaming. Maybe casual console stuff here and there. Maybe some Guitar Hero with my kids, but like I really wasn't gaming for a good decade of my life. Because I was focused on the corporate world. We were getting the big jobs and that's how we
course.
met each other. Was
you become
through,
an adult,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
got to
That's how
stop
we-
doing that stuff.
Yeah. And so we were coming up on like a team builder idea.
Yep.
And you had the idea for a gaming.
I did, yeah. Because I mean, was it? Gosh, I used to do this with my friends, right? The old LAN parties where
Yes.
you literally you'd take your computer, the case, you take that huge monitor that you had that weighed 500 pounds
Yeah.
to someone's house.
Yep.
You'd all get on a LAN there, and you'd play. We would play Unreal Tournament, stuff like that, Quake, Doom, stuff like that. And so it's like there are these areas, these companies that are just for LAN parties, and it wasn't my idea to do Battlefield. But that was the game that they had there.
Yeah.
And it was such a fun time. So the whole team, and we had a pretty large team at the time. It was probably like, 12, 15 of us, right?
Yeah.
And so we went there and we got on Battlefield, and so that just hooked us.
It
Yeah.
hooked us. And do you remember?
did.
Do you remember? I remember seeing from a gaming standpoint. I remember seeing who was taking to the game and who wasn't taking to the game. And by the end of the day, like I remember because it was brand new to me, and I think to all of us. And by the end of the day, I was like, I'm actually operating pretty well in this game. And there were still other people that were like, how do I get in the tank? I'm like, they'd have no
Yes,
instincts
yep.
for games, right? And so, but I remember like that hooked us, like you said. And we went on to just play some Battlefield. But I started to notice something about you, Brian, Mkbean, Rusty. What do you want to be called?
Whatever you want.
Well, okay. I started to notice something about you, douchebag, where we were I had to. We were starting to play, and all of us were taking the game seriously. And while you were good and taking the game seriously, there was always time for a joke. You were still entertaining, and nobody was watching. We weren't streaming, but you were always having fun. And that was a fun dynamic that I realized there's a different energy here. I never knew what it was to play a game and goof around at the same time. If I was playing, I was there to win. I'm there and I'm having fun, but I wasn't there to goof around. You would goof around and still like be good and stuff. And that was another energy that I was really enjoying. And then we started streaming, not Battlefield. Well, we
No, we
Battlefield.
didn't. We
I
never
first.
streamed Battlefield, did we?
Well, you and I
If
did
anything,
later,
maybe it was
but-
like Bad Company or something like that. Like
Oh,
it wasn't
maybe.
BF2, which was
Maybe.
the OG for us.
But we walked out of that. We walked out of that, team builder LAN party thing, and we are like, we need to do this more. And we
Yep.
scheduled I want to say it was like every Thursday
Every
night.
Thursday.
I still have the calendar invite.
It's on your calendar.
Yes, I still have the calendar. I brought it over. I brought it over from Intel to where I'm working now. I'm not losing that thing, man. It's precious.
Wow.
To me. And it's funny because you're the one that sent out the invite, and it's like, make sure you have a licensed copy.
Yeah.
We were using TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak
For audio, right? Here's
gosh.
the IP, connect to my IP and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was great, man.
But see, here's an example of, and this is before we were streaming, okay? And we're not going to say his name, but there was a gentleman, our boss actually was playing with us, and I'm just going to say this, he was very easy to tilt. And you had decided to recreate his name, and you changed one character, like from an L to a 1. Yeah. And so really quick on screen, you can't tell that it's any different. And this is Battlefield, so it wasn't like we had custom skins. And I was on his team, and he, air quotes, walks up to me, looks at me for a while, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" And he just lights me up, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And
That was me.
Yeah, and it was actually you. And I start yelling at him, and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you killing me for?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You just shot me in the face. You just killed me." He goes, "I'm not even shooting bullets." And you're sitting there watching us argue, knowing that you caused it. There's no audience. It's just us, and you were just jacking around, and it was like, it's just a testament that you were supposed to.
It wasn't just me. There was another guy with us who was playing, who he did it as well, and he used a different character, like a pipe, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he actually killed anybody, but he was running around. So all you had to do is hit tab, and you tell, okay, here's who's on, right? So it's not like
Why is there 3 of this one?
Why are there
person?
3 of that name?
Without giving names, was it Mavis Beacon? Which was
No.
It wasn't him. Okay,
No.
that's a.
Don't you
nickname
wish
for him.
though? Don't you wish you knew back then to like have it recorded?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
There was
mean?
so much.
To like record those sessions.
We had
and
so
then,
much fun. I remember one time we were playing it, and we're in. You guys were doing your thing in a helicopter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what
that
we
was
did.
you guys, and so I'm driving like it's like a Jeep or something like that, but you can fit 4 people in it or something like that. And something happened. I don't know. We're driving, and I remember one guy standing there, and I ram right into him, and he gets like is squeezed in between that and the tank and dies, and another guy goes flying out of it, and this is like. You see these moments, you're like, this would just be great video. But
yeah.
I don't even think it was. I mean, maybe you could do it back then. I mean, YouTube was around, so people were doing it. We just didn't.
Yeah, we didn't know.
We just were having fun.
We didn't know. Like YouTube was, Charlie bit my finger. That's all it was. It was like we weren't really thinking about recording gaming and putting it on for people to watch. But yet we had these magical moments that we remember like it was yesterday.
Yes, but I never would have thought anybody would care to watch that stuff.
But think about it. When you're a kid, and we all grew up playing games, sure, we would play games by yourself, but a lot of times you're playing with your friends.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You're on the couch, you're elbowing them, you're talking trash and stuff like that. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, that's right.
People talk to me, older people my age, our age, are like, what do you mean, you stream? Like, who in the world's going to watch you? Well, when you were playing games as a kid, you had your friends with you and watching you. The people who are on stream with you, they're your friends watching you and interacting with you and talking to you. It's the same thing. It's just a different medium. That's it.
You're 100% right. I just didn't see it because back then I was like, yeah, I do want to hang out with my friends. Well, I don't understand why anybody would want to watch. So a stranger would want to watch me play this. I get it now, obviously. I just didn't understand it back then. But like you're saying, Impulse, if we had just had the foresight to do that and get on the game early, it could have been, because you and I did end up streaming Battlefield didn't we? Weren't we streaming?
I don't remember ever streaming Battlefield.
Oh my God, we're just jerks. So we learned from this guy on what it is to mess with people, and we weren't even streaming it.
No.
We were just being up there and on the
Yeah,
helicopter.
you guys were, because you guys absolutely were jerks in that game, because you guys were so good. That's why. And when you guys joined the server, oh crap.
Yeah,
Imp and Skizz are on now.
Proof!
But wait, I don't think your name was Skizz back then.
It was Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
Before I was Silver.
I know. I was wondering, like, why is he going by Silver Fox? He doesn't have gray hair.
It's because it was 4S. It was a type of drumstick, and 4S was the sizing. Yeah.
Were you Impulse then? You were.
I was just Impulse.
You were still
then,
Impulse.
then,
Some of the names that we had there. My 6. I was actually. I think I wasn't. I don't think I was Mkbean.
No.
I think I was.
Were you my 6?
No, that was somebody else.
Okay.
I think I was. No, I don't remember. But I
don't
think
remember what you were either.
Sergeant something.
Oh.
Was it my last name? I don't even know, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Was it? Yeah,
I think it was just
could've been my last
Sergeant
name.
and then your actual last name. I think you're right.
Yeah, I
we
think
had
that's what
one
it
guy
was.
with us that
Oh my gosh.
he it was like at work when they give you your login
Yeah,
and it was like your first initial, middle initial, and last name. That was his gamer name.
Yeah.
That was great.
We used to joke that. Why don't you just put the domain in there, the AMR?
Like you're logging into this
so ridiculous.
Active Directory.
But also, our boss did the same thing.
Did he? Oh, he did.
That's
This was the
You're
same
right.
thing.
Yeah,
so
that's
both
so
those
funny.
guys, it was like that was their gaming name, which is like, okay.
I'm glad I didn't go with that.
Yeah, me too.
That would have doxed me immediately. That's what it is.
But so then let's fast forward a little bit. So we had the bottom line is what we ended up learning in that was that we didn't lose our spirit for enjoying games, right? It was honestly, it was kind of reintroduced. It was slowly reintroduced when you and I were living together for a little bit. We were playing Unreal
Yeah,
Tournament.
we played a
like you
little bit
were saying.
Unreal when we were in like, that was like when we were in college.
Like, when we were in college, we were playing. I'm like, dude, I miss gaming and stuff, but I still didn't really latch in. It wasn't until the team builder. And we were like, let's start streaming together, I guess. And so that's when we would have we started the server.
I don't even know how. Oh, I mean, we
started
were
a server.
playing on a Minecraft server together.
And we actually, before streaming, we actually started creating videos on the SMB server,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Did we?
Yeah.
yeah.
Different channel. I had a different channel for that.
Wow.
That I
I
posted
think I still
a few.
have season 1, which is great looking. My microphone, all our microphones are terrible.
Oh,
So
it's the
bad.
worst.
And I still have that, and it's just terrible. In fact, I got this. As a creator, you try to, especially a smaller creator, you try to reply to everybody, to their comments. You guys, obviously, you can't. It's just too much. I still, and I have one comment that is unanswered, and it's from him. From like 11 years ago, and it's the Ender Dragon fight, and it's something like, the only thing being hit was Skizz with an arrow. But I still have that. I don't want to hard it or comment it because it will go away and I'll never see it. So it's still there. Yeah. But gosh,
That's amazing.
the audio is just horrible.
Oh yeah. And I remember at that time we had our kids as well. It was family. It was like family Minecraft
Yeah, with
server,
SMB
right?
Junior server too.
Yeah, so we had our kids and we all did a dragon fight together, and it was just absolute chaos because our kids were like super young, like 9 years old, 10
Do you
years
remember
old.
though, there was a glitch with the dragon fight.
And there was a ton of dragons.
There was a ton of dragons.
I missed that night.
Yeah,
It was
you did.
crazy.
We spawned in to the end, and for some reason, I don't know, 5,
game glitched.
6 dragons. Crazy.
Which is crazy. What a
And
like,
we did capture the moment. I think somebody was recording that.
If I did, I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I don't have it either. I mean, honestly, we can't publicize those anyway because I think it had like our kids' names and stuff,
exactly.
and, everything. So, but yeah, it was interesting that we were like actually recording stuff back then, but didn't really have an idea that we wanted to pursue that as a potential career, right? Because it wasn't really a thing. I don't even know if YouTube creators were making money at that point because that was literally like,
I'm sure they were, but it probably wasn't much.
yeah, it might have
There
been
was-
brand new
Yeah.
partnership stuff.
But I don't know how we got into the streaming because we would have those meetings at work to talk about this is what we're going to do. We would like not script out what we're going to say and stuff like that, but we'd script out, here is the agenda for what we're going to do on stream.
Which was important because I made these graphics that at the bottom of the screen would say like you see it on the like newscasting sometimes where it's like
the ticker.
Coming up next is going to be this segment.
Yep.
We had that on our stream where we would like move it along and it was like different buttons in OBS I had to press and toggle to move it along and all these graphics that had to be made.
He was our tech guy.
Oh my gosh.
He was a great tech
Go
guy.
We did multi-streaming years before multi-streaming.
Yes,
was out
dude.
there.
And so I'm going to tell you, and to the first time we did it, I was just like, I'm not going to even try to understand how Impulse figured this out because how did you do this? How did you do this?
Had some Linux box that was running some RTMP server and had all this different live wire software to combine everyone's streams. It was crazy.
Here's the crazy thing is you went on vacation one week. And so I actually hosted it. I remoted into that computer from my house. Again, how long ago was it? It's not like this was like that technology was easy back then.
That was
right?
difficult back then.
So I had to remote into that computer and run that remotely, all that stuff. And I'm just like, after that, I'm like, I can't believe you go through this while you're streaming, while you're playing. Like,
That was
but it
amazing. And I
builds
remember-
that muscle.
Do you remember when we would stream and it would do, like you said, it would be all those different, visuals, like you said, and the comments would be like, how are they doing this? Because nobody had ever seen it done.
Yeah.
That was insane.
That was awesome.
That we would stream with Graph. We would stream with MK.
Yeah.
With Roby1.
Yeah, sometimes it would get wild when we had like 5 or 6 people. 4 people was easy, quadrants.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then we'd have to have like a head somewhere else.
We would have a floating head in like the middle of the screen if we had 5, and like 6 of like shoving them all together. It was difficult, but I mean, we made it work. And those streams, like I guarantee somebody watching or listening to this podcast right now was around for those streams. Yeah. And if you were, please leave a comment.
Yeah, I want to
and let us know like what you remember about them.
Or your favorite moment, because I've forgotten a lot of them.
I have several of them still. They're not published, but I have several specifically like deep into conversations that we would have.
There was some good stuff. Yeah. So Skizz would kind of lead that segment up. He would come up with a topic, and we called it the deep end, and they were like deep subjects, right? And we would get into our emotions a little bit sometimes during that. And had some really deep and heavy conversations, and it was good stuff.
And that was all organic. It wasn't like when we started doing this, it wasn't like, let's have a deep end session. It was just like, we'd be streaming for 3-4 hours. I mean, because it was amazing how long we streamed for back then on a work night, if you will. Yeah. It was Thursday night. We had to go to work the next day. And then toward the end, things just slow down and you start having these real conversations with your friends. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the deep end.
Yeah. It was like a podcast before the podcast.
Yeah.
And I remember like coming up with those ideas. I remember that like the first handful were easy. It was kind of like starting this podcast. Like the first, X amount of podcasts, the topics were easy because there was an open bank. But here it was like, after so many of them, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to let this whole group down if I can't think of something good, like something I'm not going to recycle anything, and somehow something would come to the surface every time, and it would be good. It would be opportunistic, and we would all lean in. And that was the other thing, is that we all had such a great dynamic that everybody was in. No, you know what I mean? Everybody was in to get a little bit vulnerable, not overly so. Nothing was cringe about any of it, but we would talk about very real stuff. And let's face it, even back then, though we were younger, we were still like getting up there in age to the point where it was like we were starting to
a little bit of life
experience, get some wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Skizz quizzes?
Yes, the Skizz quizzes. Because I think actually, did I do some of the images for that though, for you to help out?
For Skizz quiz?
Yeah. I think I might have. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
We'd put an image up, right? Remember that? The image.
No.
Guess it. No, that was I know where you would we'd put an image up of a screenshot of a show or a movie, and they'd have to guess what that came from.
Yes, but I think if I'm not mistaken, I think I would be really zoomed in on it.
Yes, it wasn't easy.
And I would zoom out slowly until somebody got it. I also would take famous lyrics and I would change every single word and see who could. And those were ungoogleable because I would change every single word.
That was his favorite term.
Yeah,
ungoogleable.
This is ungoogleable.
It's ungoogleable. But it ended up attracting this crowd, and I remember this too. This might have been one of my favorite deep end topics. Is nothing is eternal. Nothing is forever.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I said
I remember that because it shook me because like that was the moment where it was like, what we're doing now is someday not going to be happening anymore, and we're going to look back on it and reminisce about it. And here we are.
Do it like
you know
all
what I mean?
This time later,
Like,
reminiscing about it right now, and it's a distant memory at this point too.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. Like, you enjoy the moment.
Absolutely.
It's because it's fleeting, and that's what that topic was. But
we also did it was a hug a YouTuber. She would always give a shout out to some YouTuber, up and coming
right.
YouTuber, which was great.
I forgot about that.
And there was a Twitter thing too, but I forget what it was called. We had a name for it as well.
You're
some
right.
type of Twitter shout.
We do some sort of we are always shouting out small creators. Yeah. Even though we were small, we were all small back then, of course. But we would always share the love and stuff. Those were some good times, man.
It was fun.
It's crazy to think back. Like we were really doing some cool stuff. Yeah, way ahead of its time.
Which I just can't even get my head wrapped around, because it wasn't until you just said hug a YouTuber, you just unlocked a memory for me. Like that, I have literally not thought about that phrase since we were doing the show.
And it's such a great concept. You know what I mean? Like as creators, and you guys have gone through this. I know you probably more so. You read those comments, and what do you always focus on? The negative ones.
Yeah.
You always, oh my gosh, could you believe that? And it's like, man, everyone needs support. Everyone needs love. You know what I mean? And that was just a great way to just give people that love and that support. And so the people that we had in our streams, it was all, hey, go here, show them some love. You know what I mean? Because you just need that. Just
what were we streaming on?
We started with Twitch, and then we moved to Mixer.
Beam, it would have been
Beam. It was Beam,
which
Beam
became
/Mixer.
Mixer.
Yeah.
Then back to Twitch we are. Okay.
I don't
gotcha.
think we ever made it back to Twitch.
No.
No. Not
As
while doing
SMB.
that.
SMB ended. Those streams ended before.
Yeah.
Mixer shut down. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might have just been on Beam actually. It might not.
Do you think we
even
never
Mixer.
did Twitch?
No, we might
Mixer.
not
I don't
have
think we ever did
Mixer.
Mixer. I don't think.
I think you guys did Mixer,
Oh.
but that was just.
I think that was
solo.
after we had Sunset SMB.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Early days. Man.
Really early days.
Exactly.
So, all right. So then we all sort of kind of found our own cadence on our own journey, and you started to take off a little bit, and you were doing your own thing. I was doing my own thing, and I was doing less of what I wanted to be doing. I think you were doing a little bit less of what you wanted to be doing.
I started doing daddy-daughter Minecraft.
That's right.
Daddy-daughter Minecraft with my 2 older daughters who are now adults.
Yeah.
And when we did this, I mean, they're like 9, 6 years old. So cute listening to that, right? Listening to their voices and stuff like that. But yeah, we did 4 seasons. Here's the thing. Again, this was 13 years ago. We were playing hardcore back then.
Oh, wow.
Well before anybody else. So again, if somebody died, it was over for them. And thankfully every time it was like all of us dying at the same time. It was, it was like something would happen drastic that it was going to be all of us. And, you know, I had like at the time, my youngest daughter, she would always be that one that's just going off and just doing the crazy stuff. And you got to like, get back in here. It's nighttime. There's a creeper out there, whatever. And then my other daughter, the oldest, you know, she's more protective. She's, you know, putting, you know, blocks up everywhere to, you know, make sure we're safe. But yeah, we did Daddy Minecraft. I wish I would have continued that. And we still to this day talk about that.
Oh,
we need to bring
there
it back.
could be a resurgence.
We need to do that. Yeah.
Do you still have those videos on your channel?
I do. Yep.
Do you ever wonder if now your adult daughters like care that those videos are out there?
You know what?
Like in a good way or a bad way? Either way.
I think in a good way.
In a good way.
They don't care so much. It's funny. They actually, you know, still support me with the videos that I do today, right? So it's funny. Like when I started doing the Rust stuff, it's like, you know, I get this text, you know, the rusty old man's back. You know what I mean? It's hilarious.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Great, but, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so the daddy-daughter thing was good. That went on. You did the TikTok journey. To me, you kept sort of broadcasting to the ether that you want to stay a part of this world, which I just love. I love seeing that, and I know what the struggle is. And you shifted from Mkbean into Rusty Old Man. I want to get back to Rust now. Now, if you could give us all the elevator pitch of what Rust is.
Yeah, so Rust it's a survival game where you wake up naked on the beach with a rock and a torch. And the whole concept is survive. That's it, right? And what I love about it is there's different ways to survive in this game, right? There are those PvP chads that are going to go and they're going to just bang and they're going to get resources and they're going to get guns and they're going to PvP and they're going to just dominate. They're going to raid bases, all those kind of things. There are people like myself who are more into the social aspect of the game. I'm just not that good at PvP, right? So my strongest weapon is my voice, is talking to people, right? And so, but it's a lot like Minecraft where there's different biomes, right? There's snow, there's a jungle now, there's desert, there's grasslands, right? And there's different resources, if you will, within those biomes. And there are different monuments that you can visit where you can get different loot, if you will. So you're looking for different loot. You're looking for that first gun, or you want to get the resources to be able to craft a bow and arrow so you can defend yourself from somebody. And you want to build a base. So you need wood, you need stone, you need metal to make it even stronger. And so it's just a great survival game that has just so much. There's role players, PvPers. There's, you know, I did a couple things where I'm literally a taxi driver.
Yeah.
Right. And taxi cab confessions. Right.
Yeah.
And I literally am just picking up people, which is kind of tough because there's not a lot of trust in Rust. People.
I wonder why you go around killing each other for goods.
And it's tough. And so eventually you lure some people into the taxi with you. And, you know, you take them. Hey, you want to go to this monument that's going to take you, you know, a while to walk? Hey, and it's not that safe. I can at least drive you there a little bit safer. And I talk to them about their wipe, because in Rust, the server lasts a month, if you will. Typically,
this is like, I love this idea and I hate it.
Yeah, it's you build up for that whole month, and so there's weekly wipes, there's bi-weekly wipes, but typically it's monthly. That's when the game is updated every single month, and so there's a new map on the official servers.
And you start over naked.
You start over naked.
Wow.
So what are you working for?
What?
Just to be at top of the most impressive person
by the end of the month.
But the funny thing is that a lot of people don't even play like that last week because it's a dead server at that point, because most people are so built up. And so when you start the game also, you don't know how to craft let's just say a garage door. You need to find the blueprint for it.
Oh my
you need
gosh.
to, or find it and research it so that you can. So at the beginning, you're on this mad rush to find that loot, to get the items that you want and to be able to research them so that you can get that. And toward the end, it's like everyone's got it. So it's just, it's kind of chaos. And so it dies off a little bit more at the end of the end of the wipe. But it's exciting because it's also every single month today, in a couple hours, it's going to wipe again.
Oh my
and what
gosh.
that means though is that every month, this is what I love about this game, there's an update, right? And so like a couple wipes ago, there was a new biome introduced. The jungle biome was introduced, which had like alligators, snakes, panthers, tigers, all these different things, different monuments, right? And so there's always something new and fresh to the game to kind of pull you back in. At one point, they brought in electricity. Think of it as redstone. I mean, you would love it because you can have trap bases now, right? You can trap people, you can open doors, and now there's a shotgun turret.
So I'm going to interject because I want to talk about my favorite moment I've seen. And I know I've told you this before. So Rusty Old Man, what an absolutely apropos title, because you are like, you're the rusty old, the game's called Rust. You're Rusty Old Man. You're the old man. Your weapon really is your voice. But it is far greater than that because I think you're damn good at the game. And I've never played this game, but I've watched enough of your videos to see what constitutes as good. And when he builds, you ever watch people play Fortnite and when they go to build, they can build
what?
I don't understand. There's they build a structure like in no time. That's how he goes through all the different menus. Like he's that fast and everything. And I'm just like, how are you building so fast? How are you doing this so fast? It's obviously from repetition, but you also have this. You're sort of the grandmaster, if you will. Like you're so dangerous, and some people don't know it yet, right? And there was a part where you were being pursued. You had no weapons, and you were running backwards as this guy was coming at you with a knife or a gun or something, and he was going to take everything. And you're just going backwards. You're like, whoa, let's talk, buddy. And you're just buying your time because you were luring him into a smart turret that you had made where the garage door is going to open up when it senses and it's going to only attack the enemy. And you were going backwards. And all of a sudden he just gets lit up and you weren't even like, yeah, he gets lit up. And you're like, oh, what happened, buddy? And like, you were so mellow and it was so dark and your neighbor starts laughing and you're all just like that. And I just thought that was so funny because it exercised to me a couple different things. Like, obviously, you know the game and you know its mechanics and everything. And you also can use your voice as a weapon, but you're also very familiar with the people that you're playing with. And you know instantly when you are going to outsmart them, when you're going to outmaneuver. You weren't worried in the slightest bit.
Yeah. So right now, the video that I'm doing right now for my next one, it's I've got this very similar setup, right? Where what I do actually is on my phone, there's an app that links into the game and I can literally push a button and those garage doors will open up, right? So I've got my phone set up right there while I'm playing, right? Now you can have like heartbeat sensors. So if someone walks up, it'll open up automatically, but I don't like that because I don't want to just kill people randomly. Again, I like the social aspect of the game. So I've got this huge pool, by the way. It's great. I've got, lawn chairs, umbrellas, everything, a barbecue out there. And I'm up there just talking to some guys and stuff like that, sitting on my chair, got my feet up, all that stuff. And I can tell something's going to happen, right? Because this is Rust. You know it. And all I've got on me, I'm wearing some clothes and a revolver. So nothing top tier here, but I know this is Rust. This is what they're going to do, right? And so this guy, he comes up and he's sitting down with me and then he gets up behind me and I kind of turn around and he pulls out this, it's called a Yoka. It's the most basic gun, but it will kill you in one shot, right? And sure enough, he kills me. And it's like, all right, beep, open that up. Garage doors come up and it just wipes them all. I was like, I knew that was going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and I always talk about, you got to have home defense. That's what this is, right? I got to have home defense for my base, right? So you're going in, you're going to have a shotgun trap so no one follows you in, right? They're going to get killed, right? It's just...
It seems so brutal that you can't trust anyone and everyone's just going to kill you at the drop of a hat.
Yes. I don't understand how I'm watching and I'm losing my mind getting upset on your behalf. Yeah. Because you know how it is in Minecraft Impulse. You go to build something and you show it off and it's like a lot of people don't realize that this was several hours. I will see you and start out naked. And then by the time you're at X point in the video, I'm like, that was probably an hour or two. And then somebody will kill you. You're like, oh, they killed me. I guess I'm starting over. I'm like, what? Yeah. How are you not raging right now?
It's like someone griefing a base on a public Minecraft server.
Yes.
Right? Like you spent all all that
used to
time.
it.
You play long enough, you just realize, you just know, hey, this is going to be a loss, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Don't get invested in it. And that's the thing, right?
That's the value of the wipe, actually.
Yeah. And so I do want to kind of mention though about Rust, and I know your guys' audience, right? Rust can seem like a very toxic game, right? I mean, it's not a toxic game. There are just toxic people out there. And guess what?
Yeah.
There are toxic people everywhere. You can play Minecraft, Roblox, it doesn't matter. You get on a public server with voice chat, people are going to say things that they shouldn't say, right? And so you've got to be careful about that with Rust. Again, it's a great game, but you got to be very careful. So when I'm creating content in Rust, so much of it has to be edited out because of just things that people will say that are inappropriate, or they're going to be blasting music that's copyright. It's like, so there's a great instance in this last wipe that this guy I was playing with, I played with this group for the first time. He built this humongous arena. Amazing, right? And it basically was, hey, I'm going to invite people. They're going to get in there and they're going to battle, right? Inside this arena, right? There's going to be rocks. There's going to be little knives and stuff like that. It's PvP. And the winner's going to get this great prize. And I wanted to record it. But again, you got little kids out there. Yeah. I say little kids, they're adults. They're just screaming, just inappropriate things. Someone's blasting some type of music out there. It's like, I can never show this. Yeah. And it's so great. It's so great, but that's what you get when you play on a public server.
Yeah, because it's public, right? You're not working with a bunch of YouTubers who all will respect copyrights and language and all that stuff. So that's the one thing I'm like, I look at what you do and I'm like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a taxi driver and pick up a random guy who might start shouting slurs. I wouldn't know what to do with that. You know what I mean?
You sure can't stream it.
That's my struggle with streaming. Exactly. I want to stream sometimes, but it's like if I do, and there's plenty of people stream. Lots of people stream, but they turn off that voice chat. But that's my weapon. Yeah. So how can I turn that off and still stream successfully? It would be really difficult. And I try to keep the chat off as well because again, now the good thing is I play on an official server, so they ban obviously things and stuff like that. And players who do things will get banned. But still, there's still things in there that might be inappropriate in the chat that's going to come up. It's like, crap, I don't want that shown on there as well, So that's my struggle, is trying to find a way to be able to stream and use my greatest weapon, which is my communication to these players. And that's the thing. I try to be a positive force in this game, right?
You do.
Rusty Old Man is a positive force, right? I have a hard time killing people in that game. I really do.
It's true, dude. I've watched enough of your videos. You were like so compassionate to others. Now,
it happens.
Every once in a while.
It happens.
Every once in a while, something happens where his brain flips, and he was a taxi driver, and he was driving, and there was a person, and he ran over them. There was somebody.
Clearly, they ran into me.
They walked out.
They ran into me,
and he kills them.
There's video.
Doesn't check on them. Smashes into them, and says to the passenger, "You saw nothing." It just keeps on driving.
Content, man.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. This last wipe, I played with this group, and it's great. I mean, they're some role players as well, and there's this one guy on there, and he doesn't create content, but he is perfect for it. He never will. And a fairly big YouTuber came on, and he's like, "Hey, come on, man, let's create content." He's like, "Bro, I don't know what content is, man. I'm just trying to build my hotel here. I don't know what you're talking about. What content?" When he plays, 100% in character.
Oh my gosh.
No matter what, like he is in character. In fact, we were going to go somewhere with him. I needed to pick up my taxi because I crashed it. And his computer crashed, right? Or the game crashed, not his computer. And he played it off. Guys, I'm sorry. Narcolepsy just kicked in right there. Again, just the whole time, just played it like nothing happened, right?
And he makes videos?
Does not make content at all.
Wow.
He'd be perfect because, again, he's always in character. And someone asked him, he's like, "Let's do it." He's like he doesn't understand. It's like, what is this content? What even is that, right? It's hilarious.
Now, let's go. I want to talk a little bit about a little bit of success that you've had, because this is going to be a good way to kind of segue into some of the struggles of what this world is.
Yeah, the YouTube side of the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So your main channel, what are you hovering around for subs right now?
7,300.
So 7,300 subs, and you had a breakout video. Yeah. So let me put it this way. According to like YouTube's percentages on what you can expect to be anywhere from medium to good viewership, you should be able to expect around 13% of your sub base watching. So by that logic, just to make it easy, if you have 1,000 subs, you should be able to expect at least 130 people to watch, right? So
No, I didn't know that.
yeah, that's statistically right. So if you're anywhere above
It's
that,
on
then
average.
an average. It's just an
It
average.
ranges based off of how new a channel is. And
Of course,
stuff,
of
but
course.
Yeah, that's average.
None of this is an exact science. But to that end, when you had a video pop off, you hit over 56,000 views or something to that effect pretty quick. And what was your sub count around then? Before
just a little over 5,000.
So a little over 5,000.
And this thing is like 10 times the views of your sub count.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You should have expected 700 views, and you got about 56,000.
And that was probably my 4th video after I started getting back at it, saying, you know what, I'm going to dedicate to Rust. I think that was about my 4th one. And I have this kind of internal goals. I'm sure you guys all have goals. Like, what do you want? At least I do, for view counts. And it's like, and even to this day, it's like, listen, I'll be happy if I get anywhere between 500 and 1,000 views. Mm-hmm. And so I was getting that. I was hitting that. Some of them were exceeding it, but barely. And that was over time. Mm-hmm. And then this one it started off slow. It's one of those ones where it's like 10 out of 10 for like 2-3 days. It's crazy. And then something
just picks up. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Now that's like my only video that actually had like this lull and then just went skyrocketed, but I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And yeah, it got me, probably 1,500 subs on that one video. Right. And again, it was a rusty old man video. Most people who watch Rust videos on YouTube, they're looking for those PvP chads. They're looking for those. But what I found is there's a community out there, right? There's a market out there of old time gamers, which is great because I get plenty of comments saying, hey, I'm old too. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I'm in my 50s and I'm playing with my dad who's in his 70s. Yeah. That's great to hear that, right? And it's like there's a market out there. I don't know how big that market is, but there are people out there who definitely will watch it. So it's crazy.
And like you said that was like your 4th video that you posted for when you made the transition like to Rust only. But you've had your channel for a long time. You've been posting a lot of Minecraft and a lot of different things on that channel. And from a growth standpoint, how would you explain that journey?
It's crazy, right? Because it's in 2020, 21, and 22, I was doing Minecraft. I got back into it. I was creating Minecraft, and I was playing with a friend of mine, Fight Club Girl, and we did this amazing map. And I think Vintage Beef actually did it first. That's where we got the idea from it. And it's a great map. And we played that. We made a series out of that. But again, and then we created a game as well. But you're talking, if I'm lucky, I'd get 50 views, 100 views. It was just, and it's so frustrating as a small time creator. You guys know how much you put into a video and how much it takes to edit a video and all that stuff. And then you're like, what's the return on this? But for a while, it's just like, it doesn't matter. I always look at this, especially with the videos that I made with the daddy-daughter stuff. This is memories.
Yeah, that's a different level right there.
It's memories, right? Yeah. And even that stuff that I created, with Fight Club Girl, it's like, these are just great memories of like interacting with a friend and having such a good time playing this game and having those genuine moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If 50 people see it, great. But if not, I know I can always go back in time now and I can enjoy that video and enjoy that moment that I had. Yeah. Because it's just so amazing.
You had me on one of those videos.
You did. Yep. Had you on one of them.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It's such a great thing. It's a great game.
It was
map.
That map you guys were doing. I remember
that one had a bunch of TNT in it.
Yes, dude. Yes. And I
can't even remember the name of it.
I remember I came in because you had asked me to come, or you invited me on to come do a cameo, which I was like, yeah, I'm all in, man. And we went in, and there was a part of me that was like, all right, well, usually what I do is in any scenario is I gauge the energy of those I'm working with, and I'll mirror it or whatever. And I'm like, that's not what they're looking for. They want Skizz to be Skizz, and I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I was just did what I wanted
to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it turned out to be just a whole lot of fun. Yeah.
And we didn't even know that was like the level that we were going to, right? It's a capture the flag kind of thing, right? You're trying to get some wool at the end, and that's what you do. And
so much fun.
That one was just a ton of TNT, and it was just perfect for a bowl and a china shop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go down and get those guys. And sure enough, there's like redstone and TNT connected to it, and just explosions everywhere. Just amazing.
But you kept at it, man. Like, so you're saying like, okay, you've been doing this for a very long time. You mentioned 2020, and I know that you were doing stuff even before then. Like, having that, you make these videos, you put a lot into it. Like, your quality has always been top notch. and you weren't getting, I mean, you're getting views, but you weren't getting what you were like maybe hoping for.
Yeah.
The growth wasn't what you were hoping for, but you didn't stop. You kept at it, and you kept a good perspective. Like, I think that perspective of like, I'm doing this for other reasons other than the clout, the views, the money, you know, because I think a lot of times like creators get into the space because that's what they want. They want to become the next Mr. Beast. And if that's your goal, then you're probably not going to make it very long, because this kind of stuff, it takes a long time, and it takes some luck sometimes, right? The video that popped off, that was a bit of luck. It just got on the channel, the jet stream of the YouTube algorithm, you know, and you never know when that's going to happen. But most people like will give up because they don't see that growth for years, and then they're just like, it's never going to happen for me. You didn't give up. You kept a fresh perspective, it sounds like, and you just said, you know what, I'm doing this for me, and I'm no matter what, like the views aren't the most important thing. And you stuck with it. It's
a goal, obviously, you know, because I think it's important to have goals, right? And what you're doing there. But again, the ultimate goal is you just want to have fun, right? You just want to enjoy yourself. This shouldn't be a job. You know what I mean? This should be something that you're doing for enjoyment. But as you guys know, because you guys have been through this as a small-time creator, I got a full-time job.
Yep.
I've got 5 daughters. Not only 3 live with me because 2 are adults. And I had to take a break, right? Because I have a 1-year-old, right? I mean, when you have young children, it's tough to be able to do that. And so when do you create content when you're working? You create it at night when the family's asleep and you've got time to do that. And it's like, that's the very difficult part. It's like you have a window that's this big, right? That's that big. And that's when you create that content. It's when you can edit it. It's when you can do everything. And so that's the struggle, is finding the time to put into it, especially when you have a family, kids, and a full-time job like I do.
Yeah.
And you've been through, I remember you starting off when we were all working at Intel, you were working in your closet, you know, and that was when you were here, but even at your old house, you know,
I built a closet in the garage to work out of, is what I did in the last house.
And that's, you can remember back to that time, but it's like, okay, is everything okay with the family? Is everyone, you know, we've eaten dinner, you've gone through homework, read your stories before bedtime, and, you know, okay, wife, you okay? You know, everything there.
It was a tough sell. And I want to ask how your wife and kids have taken it, because, you know, when you first start, you know, obviously you're not making enough money to make it feel like the time is worth it.
Right.
And, you know, so this is just a hobby of yours. It's taking you away from your time with your family. And it's like, okay, having that goal of like, oh, this could potentially be something is one thing, but like having to explain that and be like, well, it might not happen because you don't have control over that necessarily. You can do the best you can do, but if YouTube gods don't, you know, welcome you with open arms, then it might go nowhere for all you know. And so explaining that, I remember it was a touchy subject for a little bit with my wife, because I was obsessed. I get obsessed about stuff, and I was like literally losing sleep every night. And then I would, the next day when it was family time, I was tired. You know, like I didn't sleep well last night. I got 3 hours of sleep because I was up editing a video.
You're thinking about what's next.
Yes. And you're somewhere else.
How is that performing? Or what about that comment? You know what I mean? You got those thoughts, and it's like, you got to find a way to shut them off, obviously, during that time.
Yeah. So how's that been?
It's interesting. So again, 2 different phases of my life, right? The first phase with my first wife and the first 2 children. My first wife, she was not a fan of me playing video games with the girls. She's like, you're not spending time. I'm like, I'm absolutely spending time with them. This is these are core memories that the 3 of us, me and my 2 older daughters, have together, and we still talk about today, right? That is, and it's so important. Like, sure, you want to be outside playing with them and stuff. You're gonna do that as well, but like living in a virtual world with them and like watching them grow and do things and learn things is amazing. With now my family now, they're too young to understand, I think. Obviously, the 1 and 3-year-old don't know what in the world's going on. It's funny because I've worked from home their entire life, which is weird. But and the 9-year-old, she's just like, whatever, Dad, whatever. And my wife, thankfully, she's supportive. She goes to bed super early. She's just always tired. So it's like, you know, I don't have to like, you know, work too much about or deal too much about spending that much time with her, because she's like, look, 8 o'clock, man, street lights are on, I'm going to bed. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that kind of helps out. So that gives me that time, and the kids are in bed. Now it's tough again when you got babies.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I had to take a little bit of a break, because I was playing on a multiplayer server in Minecraft, right? And playing with a community of people. And so shout out to AlphaCraft members. Sorry. I got to give them a shout out, but you know, it's like, my time was limited. I even, when I joined it, I told them, like, look, I'm about to have a daughter here. Well, we're about to have I'm not having a daughter, but the wife's we're gonna have another child, and that's gonna really limit how much I can play and contribute. But they're like, it's fine, it's cool, right? We just want you to be here and have fun. And I'm the type of Minecraft player. I'm not a great builder. I'm not great at, PvP in Minecraft or anything. I just like to have fun. You know what I mean? Just kind of like you, Skizz. Very similar. Let's just have fun. Let's just find something to do that's fun, if you will. And that's kind of how I play. And so my time started off good there, but then it kind of died down because I had to slow down because of the kids and the family. Okay, well, I got to get up and change some diapers, feed the baby, whatever it is. And so I did have to take a little bit of time off for that. But right now they're pretty supportive
that's
of
awesome.
that. And I think also it's my wife knows you guys, she knows, like, wow, look, okay, these guys can actually you can make a career out of this. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to make a career out of it, but she can see that, okay, this is something that can be done. It's not just some pipe dream that's out there, right? There's somebody right there who's been successful.
Yeah. And you have talent, you know what I mean? Like that's a big part of it. Obviously there's a lot of pieces that have to come together to make those dreams come true. But you've at least got that going for you, that like you're passionate about it. You're good at what you do. I think your videos are top notch, like I said.
So that's the thing also I think you struggle with as a small time creator is quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because as a small time creator, you're trying, you have this belief, and I don't think it's true. You guys could tell me. You have this belief that I have to get content out as quick as possible, right? So let's say I released a video in Rust. It's a build video of a base. And then I got this idea and I'm like, crap, this is a great idea. Should I wait? Should I release it? You know what I mean? So it's like, what do? I want to get this out as quick as possible. But if I get it out as quick as possible, I'm going to sacrifice the quality for quantity. And I still struggle with that, right? And I wish that I wouldn't, because I'm pretty confident that it's not, quantity doesn't matter as much. Obviously you don't want to go 2 months without a video, right? But if you wait a week, it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key is to me personally, and I'm still learning this, do I enjoy watching my video back? Do I enjoy it? And if there's something about it that honestly, in one of my last videos, I can't remember which one, I was watching it back and there was like a 30 seconds like piece of it where I was all, yep, I got lazy there. And I was so upset with myself. You and I have talked about this in the podcast of back when I was a kid and we were cutting our first album with my rock band. There was a fill I did that was pretty good, but there was a little bit of dirt because we have those ears because of marching. And I'm like, oh, that was, and in the moment, I remember my brain was like, cut us off and start us over. You were going to want to clean that up. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. And to this day, if I listen back to it, that fill pisses me off every time, right? So it's the same thing with the videos. You make a video, when you watch it back, did you enjoy it? If you did, you're done. Like that, then go ahead and release it.
So how's that for you guys? When you guys create a Hermitcraft episode, right? You've done all your editing, all that stuff. You publish it, but you don't publish it, right? You render it, right? Do you watch it back, start to finish?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
I will typically, believe it or not, I watch it back before I render it. And I just watch it back on double speed.
I do both.
I do both.
But the reason why I watch it after I render it is sometimes there's some audio issues while I'm watching it within the program, stuff like that. But I like that for some reason. I like that because then what I do is I've got like my little notepad up and I'm like, all right, got to cut there. Why do I have 5 seconds of just dead air, just nothing, right? I love that. So I can then do like the fine tuning of the cuts after I see it all packaged up. I don't know why, for some reason, I like that. I enjoy that aspect of it. And then it's funny though, I have to do it in reverse order, the edits, because what I'll do is I'll put timestamps, 1 minute, 3 seconds, cut to 1 minute, 10 seconds, if you will, right? Or whatever it is, right? Well, if I do that and then the next one's 4 minutes, I just cut that down. Done. So I made that mistake and it's like, okay, make your notes sequentially, but when you do your edits, do it in reverse order. So the timeline is the same when you're looking at those timestamps.
So I think the way I look at it is imagine if you just painted an entire room and you let it all dry and now you're going to go touch it up. I don't go back with little pieces of tape on what I want to touch up. I go back with can in hand and I go and I touch it up. And the reason I do it that way when I'm doing the videos and why I watch it before it's been rendered is because and you know this about me, I'm so huge on cadence on regards to like this is happening and I want to cut to the next scene, and the comedic timing of it, in my opinion, has to be perfect. And we're talking frames at a time. So as I'm watching it, I'm just feeling the video as I watch it, and I'll be like, well, hold on. And I go back and I scrub. I'm like, shave off a few frames, listen, shave it off. Nope, that's good. Move on. And then I can move on. Notes for this is me. Your way is perfect. But for me, it's like, I have to do it in the render screen. It's the only way I can actually fix it on the fly, because my brain is right there in the art and the artistic dynamic of it. You know, I can feel the cadence. I can feel what I'm trying to do right then and there. And once it's perfect, I can leave it behind me and just move forward. And I think I got lazy on this video I'm talking about. And I was watching it back on YouTube, because I will also, once I release it, I actually do QA it once it's on YouTube, because sometimes things get messed up there.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, watching it after.
Oh, I thought you meant just watching the rendered version on your computer.
No, like once you upload.
I'll do it all. So
yeah, you do it. Yeah. And I'll watch it back and I'm like, how did I allow that to happen? Like, what was my brain there? And
my last episode, my single player world that I just started, episode 3, I had it uploaded to YouTube, scheduled and everything. And I realized I hadn't watched it all the way through. So the morning it was going to go out, it was supposed to go out at 7 a.m. At like 6:30 in the morning, I decided to watch it. And I knew that I'd get to the end of it, and that's when it was going to publish. While I was watching it from YouTube, while it was scheduled, I found a clip I meant to cut out. Oh. So there was a clip, and then I had like reshot the clip, and you could
both
tell.
In there?
And so they were both in there back to back.
I've done that.
I used the YouTube editor to remove that clip, and it still went live on time, and it without the extra clip.
Woo! Really?
Yeah,
That's impressive,
and it literally processed within minutes of it going live.
That's
it was
like
crazy.
Indiana Jones grabbing his hat from the falling door.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's rare, but it happens, and that's the reason why I watch it, because I would have been embarrassed. People would have called that out like crazy, like, dude, you said the same thing again.
Which is ridiculous, right? And in the grand scheme of things, we're human. We're going to make mistakes like that. I mean,
well, that's where you're wrong. We are perfect. We are content creating machines. We don't make any mistakes. We don't say anything wrong. And the editing process is obviously easy.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that. That's so yeah.
I don't even know why I have a good computer. I only play Minecraft.
Yeah. Duh. What do you need a good computer? Yeah, it's just Minecraft, you loser.
Yeah. I don't know. But I get paranoid like that, you know. But going back to like what we were saying about quality and quantity, I think, for beginners, when you're just starting and you're just creating content, this is the advice I give to anybody that's like, I want to try my hand at this, creating videos. I do think there's merit in quantity in the beginning, because you're trying to hone your skills. You're trying to find your voice. And I think the only way to do that is through repetition. And that quantity is more for you than it is your audience. Get that out of the way, find your voice, hone in on your skills, and then focus on quality once you know what you're doing.
Have you guys seen this? Good point. If you've ever seen a young child playing a video game now, they're playing like they're streaming and creating content. Seriously, they're like by themselves playing it. Oh yeah, let's go, boys. Let's go and do. I mean, they're practicing. They don't even realize it, but that's what they're doing. They're acting because they're seeing these videos online and they're imitating their favorite creators and so forth. And so when they play, they have that same kind of dialogue, all that stuff that's going on. And it's funny. I saw someone do that. I'm just like, you're not even, this is for yourself. Like literally, you don't even, I don't even think the kid realized he was doing it, but
from
he's
the mouth of babes.
Yep.
They know it's, by the way, kids can teach us more than we. When I was used to coach at CrossFit, I would say, if you want to know what a perfect squat is, look at a kid.
Yeah.
Look at a child. The way they squat is picture perfect. Like when we get older and we lose that, right?
That flexibility.
I want to add on to what you just said. Quantity in the beginning to find your voice. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yep. But I'm just now realizing in this conversation, for the record, is that when you start to replace quantity for quality, I think you need to, quality needs to always be on the forefront of your mind, because we're always trying to grow. I think what we need to do, and I am still struggling to do this, is replace quantity with consistency. Because I think no matter how good somebody is, consistency is key. And this is something that Impulse has been driving into me for a long time, because because back when I was trying to launch, the reason it was really hard for me is because I was constantly out of state. I was always I've been traveling pretty much for the last 8 years because of my daughter's softball. Yeah. And that's great. I obviously it's been my favorite chapter ever, but that was what made it hard for me. So consistency, I was like, when he would get on me, he's like, you can't go that long and not have a video. I'm like, it's not like I don't know that. I don't know how to combat this right now. I'm gone all the time. I don't know what to do. But even now that I'm back, I'm not traveling nearly as much as I used to. Consistency is still tough.
And it's funny because consistency, you guys are both super consistent streamers.
Yes.
You got a schedule and you stick to it. So what's the difference?
The difference is that I can hit stream and go, but when it comes to creating a video, I will apparently, specifically in Minecraft, maybe another game might be different, but in Minecraft, I am a chronic miscalculator in regards to what this is going to do.
That's my answer too.
I just cannot judge a project.
Yeah.
I can't do, I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I should be able to knock this out in 2 hours. 3 weeks later, I guess I'm done getting the resources for this. Like I'm just,
in my mind, I had Metro Mayhem done in the first 3 months of the season.
Oh my gosh.
And we're on month like 18 now. So, yeah.
See? Like that's, yeah, I'm glad that you're in the same boat.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little bit more human, but that's why I struggle greatly with that. Now, I actually, when I was doing the solo Skizz stuff, back on the solo Skizz snapshot stuff, I was actually pretty consistent. And it was because the projects were, next to nothing, first of all. So they're far more doable. And I was able, and I love collabing with people, but there was nobody to collab with. So I didn't have to work out schedules with anybody. It was just all me. So I was able to be a little bit more consistent. But in the grand scheme of things, knowing how consistency plays such a huge role in one's success in this world, I still struggle as to, if I tried harder, I could be more consistent. I know I could get better. In fact, let's just open this up a little bit. Impulse and I were talking about one of our favorite YouTuber streamers out there is Jimmy. He's obviously a good friend of ours, but he's also somebody to be studied, because how can somebody that young have that kind of wisdom in regards to how he's able to pull things off so consistently and so many different things? And yes, we know he has editors and he has people he works with, but that's not an end all. That doesn't mean you're going to be consistent. He is everywhere. In the span of this podcast we've been recording, he's probably released like 11 more videos. And we have no idea.
11 different platforms.
Yes. And it's like, it's crazy. And Impulse's answer was, I think he's got better systems. And that is what it is. So
you think so?
I
systems?
do. I think,
or is it just that
there's
he
no
has
question
been,
there.
For us, we kind of had to invent it, if you will, creating content, for example. And somebody else who's younger than us, 10 years, 15 years younger than us, they grew up seeing kind of what it takes. And so I think it's like that kid playing and talking. They started building those muscles so much sooner.
Well, hold on, but they grew up seeing the result. You don't see what it takes until you're doing it.
Correct. You're right. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's when you talk about consistency, and you stick to a Twitch schedule very easily and maybe not releasing a YouTube video. Those are two different muscles as well.
Yes.
Creating a video is way different than creating content on Twitch. And again, it's not one is easier than the other. It's a different muscle.
It's very different. Good way to put it. Very different muscle. Streaming, I set a schedule, hit go live, and in X amount of hours, say goodbye, everybody. I'll see you next time. Whatever happened in between there is actually irrelevant. Like you have to be good at it, but the success indicator wasn't what you were trying to do during the stream. The success indicator was, did you stream? In the YouTube world is, did you create a video? And everything it takes to create those, as we're saying, I cannot get the Metro Mayhem. That is so funny. That is I could have told you, because I was like, now I'm seeing the scale of it. I'm like, you are out of your mind. Yeah. That is crazy, but it's going to be great. But I just can't judge it better. But I think I could if I got better systems. I really, really could. What I'm doing now in my house, I'm building my new studio, right? I've been putting it off because I just don't have time for this. And I've been, doing the floor right now. Here's the deal. The other day, like literally less than a week ago, there were so many steps to get me right. The carpet was still in less than a week ago. And I was like, okay, here's the deal. I hate to do this. I'm going back to corporate. I was hoping to let go of this, but I was a PM. I did program management a lot at Intel.
Daily stand-ups for this project suck.
I hate that world. Yeah. I hate it, but I had to. So I itemized every single task that needed to be done. Yeah. And I knew what the lift was, I knew what the priority was, and I knew what the day it was. And as we're doing this podcast, and I'm loving every bit of this, it's eating me alive that I am technically behind schedule. But had I not made that list, I probably would not even rip the carpet up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if I would just get more organized in this world, it would probably be better.
I think also, probably as you're doing that with your new office, again, that's taking away from time to do other creation stuff as
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
It's an investment though, right?
Yeah.
It's an
It's
investment.
supposed to be.
a lot of little things will take that time from you, having 5 daughters, I can imagine. And mine is playing with tech gear, because every week I get some new streaming equipment that I got to play with, and so I'm like, okay, I'm producing a lot less content because I'm too busy spending time rearranging my office for the 5th time this week and trying out a new piece of tech gear. So I'm just like, okay, put a stop to that. Focus, right? You got to kind of like, you are your own boss in this space. So you have to like treat yourself like that. You know what I mean? So I'm my own boss now. Get back to work. Stop screwing around.
Yeah. Stop playing with your dinghy.
Gotta get a performance message now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there goes my performance review at the end of the year.
No, you're absolutely right. And I actually will say that, believe it or not, out loud to myself, because I'm home alone a lot. And I'll go down to have lunch, and I'll make my lunch, and I'll sit there, and it'll take me 20, 30 minutes to eat. And I'm sitting there, and I'll watch like 5 more minutes of whatever I'm watching. And dogs are hanging out with me, and I'll be like, get back to work right now. And I'll turn it off, and I'll go upstairs, because I'm like, I'm still human. I like to relax too. Yep. You know what I mean? But I'm like, no, get back to work right now and go up there. But if I got better systems, then I could really lean into the whole consistency piece. And I think I would probably see a better world. I'm trying to be too relaxed in this. It's been 20 years in corporate world. I want a little break. Well, I've had a year break. Enough's enough.
In a couple of months, it'll have been 20 years since we've known each other.
Wow.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
That is insane.
In a couple of months, it'd be 20 years.
That's crazy.
2 decades.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
One thing I want to say about consistency, though, because there has been this misnomer that it's YouTube that punishes you if you take a break. And that's not true. That's not true.
I'm not even certain that that's true. That's not
well, nobody's
true.
certain about how YouTube works, but even the developers that worked on the code, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But what is true is it's kind of that out of sight, out of mind thing, right? So if you don't post for a couple weeks, and the people that were devoted and were looking forward to your video on whatever cadence you kind of established, whether it was every Monday at this time, or, you can probably expect a video from me every other week. Well, suddenly now it's been 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. They'll just move on. They'll just forget you exist and find somebody else to watch to fill that space. And when you come back, well, they've already forgotten about you. So it's not YouTube punishing you. It's just the way humans work.
Oh, yeah.
I think also it's what's interesting. If I was the YouTube algorithm, though, it feeds you what you're watching and recommends based off those things. So if I'm watching a bunch of Minecraft videos, guess what I'm going to get? Minecraft videos. Mm-hmm. If I start watching cooking videos, my feed starts bleeding more of that. And so again, if you're out of sight, out of mind, you're right. You might just be completely wiped off their page until they're scrolling for days before they find you again.
Right.
And that's the thing. I wish that I could control that better on what shows up, and maybe YouTube. They think they know what's better for me. I don't know if they really do or not.
Well, here's what I think it is, because so you're correct. I don't think that YouTube's like, oh, this person has not released a video in X amount of days, so we're going to go ahead and just initially throttle them. Just get ready to pre-throttle them. I don't think that's happening. What I think is happening is the human dynamic, like you're saying. You go X amount of time, people start to not care, because that's a human thing to do, and they're going to click less. And that's when I think YouTube comes in with their click-through.
Yeah, that's when the algorithm kicks
that's
in.
when the algorithm's like, well, less people are clicking on this, so we're going to go ahead and stop.
Because you're lower in their suggested.
Yeah,
probably.
So you're, and they might count that as an impression, because it's still on their page if they scroll down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And by that time, you're just scrolling.
know?
And that's where you're looking for an interesting thumbnail, right? That you're going to click on.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So then you start getting into the whole thumbnail title game.
Yeah.
Which is still, like, to this day, I find it just crazy that it doesn't matter so much what you do in the video. It matters what your thumbnail and title are to get people there in the first place. But then you also need to not let them down.
You know what I mean? Keep them. Retention is still big. I think.
Anytime somebody's like, oh, I must have done a terrible video or whatever because nobody watched it, that's never the case. It's usually the video, it's either title thumbnail problem, or it was the video before you got them there and then you let them down so they didn't go watch the next one. Yeah. So I see that misnomer a lot. It's like, my video must be bad because it got low views. It's like, no, probably the video before or your title and thumbnail.
So in the video for me that popped, the interesting thing was on that one, the thumbnail that I used, I paid an artist to make that thumbnail. And she does great work for a lot of other Rust players. And so it's just a really iconic look and feel that people see that and it's just different and it kind of, it's attractive to them. The title was okay. But I think what really helped me out as well with that video, I decided to put more energy into the kind of pre-production. What am I going to say for my introduction? Because a lot of times I'll create content and it's just off the cuff, almost like when you're streaming, right? It's just off the cuff, you're going. But creating content, you're trying to tell a story, right? And so I said, all right, I'm going to have a scripted intro. So I would go ahead and think about, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to say to make this funny? And that's what I did with that video. And I think that helped and it draws users in because you're not just blabbering, you're actually kind of saying something. And I think that actually helped out.
Oh yeah.
And so I've been using that a lot more with them where it's, again, I'll go ahead and write out basically, not the entire script, but certain things. And, and I'll put that in the video. And I think that actually helps tie it all together as well.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, they say like having a good hook, that first 15 seconds of the video is like the most important.
And the rusty old man, it's funny because I'm sure most of the people that see me think or watch my videos think that I'm just some Southern hick. Right?
Because, you do put on a little accent in there.
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah. It's like rusty old man here. Going to go ahead and get on to the outpost and pick up some new passengers for the, you know what I mean? And so I absolutely do. And what's funny is then when I'm like playing, if you will, and talking to people, a lot of times that voice doesn't come out. And so I always wonder, like, what do people think now? Right? Yeah. The voice changed. Well, yeah, it's just,
it's like, it's an act. It's like streamer voice versus recording voice. Yep. Like I have the same kind of thing where it's just a little bit amplified is all, a little more energy for the YouTube.
But I put that country accent on it.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I'm talking country. But again, it fits the persona.
Yeah, it might get thicker. You might end up losing it. I mean, you're still, this is a world where you're, it's the pendulum's swinging. You're trying to, like you said, trying to find that voice. And I think your voice is set, but it might even evolve a little bit more later. Who knows, right? Yep. But Rust goes away. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Rebranding?
No. You got to keep Rusty Old Man.
It fits. I was going to say like that's nice that it actually fits.
Before we get to that, that's a thing. Rebranding is a thing where it's like, all right, I had to change my Twitter over to that as well. And then I was like, all right, my Twitch is still Mkbean. And I contacted the guy who owned Rusty Old Man. I said, can I get this from you? He's like, sure. I said, all right, thanks, man. He released it. There's a 6-month waiting period for Twitch to take a name.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
I have to wait 5 more months now before I can get that name in Twitch.
Oh no.
Before it's recycled back into the ether. It's like, this is ridiculous. This guy literally just gave this up for me so I could take it and now I can't even take it.
Oh man.
So like when it's ready, you got to jump on it?
Got to jump on it. Yep. It's crazy.
Well, I want to cut this part out of the podcast, to be honest.
Yeah. Feel free to. But rebranding is tough, right? Because you got to go through all your socials. And, for you, Impulse SV, you did that early enough where you got it all. For me, it's like, all right, well, maybe YouTube is this, Twitch is this, X, it's so difficult. Are all yours the same? Skizz?
No, his is different.
My YouTube is MC Skizzleman.
Right.
My Twitter is The Skizzleman because somebody out there took Skizzleman. And actually, a lot of my stuff is The Skizzleman because Skizzleman was.
You try to, then you just try to at least be consistent on something. You know what I mean?
In fact, there's another platform. I don't even remember which it was. I was setting things up. Skizzleman was taken. The Skizzleman was taken. So I had to make it to The Real Skizzleman. God, like it was just like what I mean. People are taking it. It's annoying, but that's just what it is.
So I don't know what's next though. It's interesting. I mean, it's. There's always that fear, right? I'm sure you guys have that fear as well. What happens if, Minecraft dies? But so obviously you guys are doing other games, which is great. And I think that's the key is, right? Just I play other games.
That's kind of what I'm going with.
Yeah,
it's not about the game Rust is not what makes you.
Right. Exactly. It's not, right? I just happen to be really good at it because I've played it forever.
You are good at it, dude.
But I also, there's plenty better people than I am. But I also, you take the skills that you have and you can apply them to other games as well.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
For me, I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to scary games, right? So like for me, it's like, I purposely kind of stay away from them because seriously, a grown man like me should not be as scared as
No, yes, you should.
Playing a game.
We're going to get this guy into Phasmo. You're going to play Phasmo.
I played Phasmo once and I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Did you play by yourself?
My watch is going off when I'm playing Phasmo because my heart rate is going up. It's like, come on, man. This is a game. Why is this happening to me?
When you play by yourself, that actually is very,
I think I was playing with somebody. I mean, I'm sure, but it's like, come on. Like
you're having a heart attack.
Exactly. You're way too old for this is what it's telling me.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. So you're going to end up finding something. There's no question there. My agent knows this about me is that when he brings me sponsorship deals that people are reaching out, he's learning like I need to believe in the product, right? He's brought me, he's like, this company makes these sports drinks, and I looked it up. It was like 102% sugar. I'm like, that's no, thank you. And so he started to pick up on that, right? Yep. So I'm thrilled to have you on the podcast because I believe in you. I believe in your product. And that's that. I watched enough of your videos. I'm like, my boy's got it, dude. I like what he's got going on.
Yeah, you can tell that the effort's there, the talent's there.
Yeah, 100% both, right? So I would like to see you continue on. I like that Rust is as old as it is because that means that it probably might have several more years. I mean, it's already old and it's doing great.
And it keeps reinventing itself every
big.
month.
That's big.
It is.
Yeah,
it's not huge updates, but there's updates
enough to keep people
interested. But that's like the new. So even Peak, for example, the game we played, the map changes every 24 hours, right? Like it's like one of those things. I mean, that's commitment right there. And so I'm excited to watch more Rust. I'm excited to see what you got going next. I would like to see you streaming personally.
Me too.
Yeah, that's something that you were good at and something that you enjoy. But so we're going to put all of your socials and everything in the description. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll do it, even though you're waiting on that to get that name back.
I'll still keep it that.
We're going to leave everybody with a story time.
Oh, story time.
Oh, it's like the old days.
I'm going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do a story time. Okay. And I'm doing this because I want all of you to lean in because this
we all shuffle around our seats. We all just sat differently for this.
This is indicative to who
ready. I don't know what this is, by the way.
He doesn't know, but he's going to, let me put it this way. He's going to know exactly what it is when I'm only a handful of words into this, I'm sure. So keep it together. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. And believe it or not, I'm telling you a story about when I've been had. Okay. So a million years ago, the team that we worked with, we were all going to go camping. And we organized this whole thing, and Mkbean couldn't make it. Rusty, what do you want to be called? I got to know. What do you want? Mkbean, this guy, him.
At that time, it was Mkbean. So yeah,
Mkbean couldn't make it. At that time, it was actually Brian, but he couldn't make it.
Oh,
and see, there it is. It just said, okay. So he comes up to me. Too. You know what this is.
I know what this is.
He comes up to me and he's like, "Listen, I'm not going to be able to go." And I was super bummed, and all of us were. Right, we're all friends, but I don't remember what it was. But you couldn't make it. And you said, I need you to take something with you on this trip and keep it safe. Cause like, almost like I'm there with you guys. So I'm like, okay. And he goes, this is weird, but this is very special to me. So like, take pictures with it and stuff. I don't know. I'm a good friend. I do things for my friends. And he pulls out what looks like, it kind of looks like the size of a walnut. It's a type of nut that's like pretty big. And he goes, this is from a rubber tree. And I'm like, what is a rubber tree? And he's like, it's a type of tree. It's an actual type of tree. So my brain's like, it must be very akin to like the weeping willow, like where the branches are legitimately rubbery. I have no idea. Maybe that's why they call it a rubber tree. I don't know. And I'm like, okay, man, I'll take this and whatever. So now we go on the trip and it's up on the dash. I take a picture. We get to the camping site. I put it on a chair. I think I put a beer next to it and took a picture of it. Like it was hanging out with us. I took care of this.
Pictures were expensive back then too.
Yeah.
It's not like your camera that can hold a billion. You're using a camera.
These are paper. Like, yeah, you have to get it like go and have it developed and everything. God. So I'm taking all these pictures. I'm doing everything that he asked me to do, just doing this whole thing. And I'm like, when I come back, I'm going to give him all these pictures and he's going to be happy that and I'll be honest with you, dude. I was like, I didn't want to ask why this nut was special, but I'm like, as crazy as it sounds, maybe this was like a gift from his dad. I have no idea. All I know is that this is important to my friend. That's all I need to know because apparently I'm an idiot. So we come back to work. It's been a week, whatever it has. And he gets his pictures and he's like, is it safe? I'm like, it is safe. And I give him his nut from the rubber tree. And he's like, thanks, man. Puts it on the ground and he smashes it. I'm all, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing. I look at it. And as he pulls his foot away, a condom pops out of it. And I'm just like, what? I was so overwhelmed. I could not have been more convinced that this was an actual nut. Okay. And I was so blown away. I'm like, what? Like my brain and I want to be very clear here. I'm going to say maybe 2/1000ths of a second was like, is that where rubbers come from? Like, it was like, so like, I was so like, what is happening here? And you lost it. And apparently you knew somebody that like,
I can't even remember it, but I mean, I don't know where I got it from.
Some girl that made these, handmade these for pranks, I think, right?
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Okay. So I told that story because I want you to see, I want to provide a window into what he is. Like he's that level of humor and he's also, he's committed to the long game.
The long game.
He knows
absolutely.
the long game. It's actually, you and I had some prank wars.
We had wars.
Massive prank wars. And to the point where he was mailing me stuff in inner office mail that I opened, and it was a spring-loaded glitter bomb everywhere. Like that is why you're fun to collaborate with. That's why you're fun to watch. It's why you're very good at this. So I would like to see you keep moving. I would like to see, and especially since you are having fun and you're supposed to be doing this.
Good. No, absolutely. I love doing it and it's fun. And I plan to continue. You know, there's no stop. And I'm always thinking of ideas of what can I do next. And the good thing is I'm very unique in that game where there's not a lot of people that are like me in it. There are, don't get me wrong. And there's some great people, but I just play the game different. Like I said, my weapon's my voice. Yeah. And it's not a gun because I'm terrible. Terrible at shooting. Even when I'm trying to kill somebody, I'm missing.
He's not
There's
wrong.
content right there.
I've seen it. It's weird. It's this one deficiency. Like I'm like, whoa, this is.
I'm like a stormtrooper. Okay. What's going on here?
Well, keep it up, keep going. I'm going to keep watching, and everybody, give it a shot. I think you're really going to like it. Rusty old man, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
Man.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for making the journey all the way to the studio.
Yeah.
Traffic was
long drive.
horrendous today.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
He's my neighbor, by the way.
Yeah. They share an
Looking at my house right now.
Yeah, I can see your house right now from here. Unbelievable. All right, check them out. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.